welcome to Recall the Midwife. We are three superfans, and each week we watch an episode and talk about it. I'm Becky.
I'm Alex.
I'm Jen. A reminder that this week's episode deals with chronic illness, complicated birth. So if those topics are ones you would prefer to skip this time, we understand and hope you join us for the next one. In this week's episode, the staff at Nonnatus House are hosting 4 male doctors doing an internship in gynecology and obstetrics. Dr. Walters works with Trixie and Dr. McNulty works with Val, and both women teach the men a lot about the medical profession and life. Fred is doing a shift with the civil defense when he meets George Benson, a single man who has spent his life raising and training carrier pigeons. When Fred compels George to see Dr. Turner, they are worried he has TB. Dr. McNulty offers Dr. Turner some info from a similar case in his family history, and it turns out the birds are the cause of his health issues. George must let the birds go, but Reggie and Fred soften the blow and take his prized pigeon to care for. Dr. Walters is the first of the doctors to deliver a baby with Trixie's help, and Dr. McNulty assists Val with delivering Leslie Pike's baby. The young doctors leave Nonnatus House with a warm send-off, and Sister Julianne and Phyllis even agree to host another group in the future. Girls.
George Benson. Does anyone else know George Benson?
I recognised him.
He looked familiar, but...
Well, not the person who played him, but the actual... Well, I'm talking about him as well, the person who played him, but also George Benson, the musical act.
No.
Give me the night. Give me the night. George Benson's really famous.
Oh. Sorry, that's lost on me. I don't know who that is.
He's American. Anyway, that's fine. The person who played George Benson was in Quadrophenia, which we've spoken about loads, and he was on EastEnders. And do you remember there was that lovely Connie who sounded like I was in love with? She played his daughter in EastEnders. His name's Phil Daniels. He also did the talking bit for Park Life in Blur.
I recognise him. I've never really watched EastEnders, but that's what I recognise him from.
Yeah, I'm not Blur.
Also,
Confidence
Jen,
is a preference of the habitual voyeur, what is known as. That's him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm excited about that.
Jen, you call them carrier pigeons. I would call them homing pigeons.
Oh, homing pigeons. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No, but is that the same thing? Is that just an Americanism?
Watch us get a load of really angry pigeon people saying, how dare you? They are not the same thing, you big pigeon racist.
Before I open up my mouth in ignorance, let me just say I don't. I assume they're the same, but I don't know. If someone wants to correct me, please.
Pigeons.
Pigeons.
Well, I call them nice pigeons, not the manky ones that have got one leg and.
Well, yeah.
We get some really disgusting ones on the streets of Britain.
Oh God. Well, I lived in I don't know, have I mentioned this in the pod? I'm sure I have. Anyways, I lived in New York City for a long time, and pigeons there are a whole different type of thing, and they're basically, very rats. Rudely,
rats.
Treated rats in the sky basically. And you always see ones with, eating pizza and French fries and things like that, and they have one of their toes missing, and they're still, working and everything. And I just, the thought of touching those birds just would never for me. I mean, the thing is, I generally feel like you're not supposed to touch birds anyway, because I don't know, something from my childhood, and I don't know if this is true or factual, but I heard that if you touch birds, if you touch a bird, if you hold a bird, that they could give germs to you, or that you could or that you could get germs from them because they have stuff on their bodies and everything. And maybe that was just my parents trying to keep me away from bird touching. I don't know,
birds, left, right.
Yeah, exactly. As if I could even have grabbed one, you know what I mean? Gotten one in my hands anyway. I don't even know how that would have happened. But so when I saw him holding them, I was just like, is this safe? Is this really okay? And then I was like, no wonder you're sick, sir.
I have tried to catch a pigeon.
Catch the pigeon.
Did you catch it?
Catch the pigeon.
No. So there was a pigeon that used to fly around where I used to work. It used to fly around the car park, and people hang things outside that musical charms and things outside the window, and it had around its neck that had got stuck there, and it was basically hanging off this pigeon.
That's not nice.
A foot long piece of plastic that was twisted, so it would the wind would catch it and it would twirl.
Oh, they're beautiful, but I feel bad for the pigeon.
Yeah, we nicknamed the pigeon Twizzler. And we tried on a few occasions to catch him.
Oh, well done. Even though you didn't succeed, well done for being a good spirited citizen to try and help a pigeon.
Oh.
So, yeah, I often think what he's doing
Even though they're vermin. Should we talk about Pigeon Man while we're actually talking about it? George Benson.
Sure.
Yeah, I did not enjoy this episode in general. I don't think you two did either.
Me neither. Him and his bloody birds. I couldn't give a damn. I did like the way the CDC made a reappearance. That's basically how this all started, because Fred was at his CDC meeting, wasn't he?
Yeah. And Christopher Row, which is where George Benson lived, was due to be demolished. So Fred wasn't expecting there to be anybody living there.
Yeah.
And what he
Yeah.
found was a pigeon called Dot living with a man called George Benson.
And let's just say this Dot is like a fourth generation inhabitant of that home. It's like,
oh yeah.
Because
Do you want
remember,
to
like,
meet a kin? I could not give a monkeys, George.
well, when Fred walked in and I heard it today because we inside scoop we had to miss this recording a
Yeah,
week
that
or
was
two
me.
ago.
We were supposed to do it last week. I had a massive migraine and slept for 50 hours, was sick loads. Honestly, it was the best weekend of my life, guys. I had a really, really good summer.
But so I had already watched it in prep before we decided to cancel, and so then I rewatched it today, and yeah, I didn't really having to watch it twice in 2 weeks was like,
Too
I don't
much.
know. Yeah, I was just like, oh, this wasn't really like some episodes would be like, oh, I'd love to watch this again, but this just kind of was not one of those.
Yeah, this was
But
not a rewatch because I watched it again today to try and make sure it was fresh in my mind for the episode. Oh, it was a log. It was just hard.
it just didn't feel like it had that Call the Midwife like energy. You know what I mean? Like
Magic.
it was just kind of like, oh, pick Call the Midwife like bingo cards out of the hat and just shove them in an
Well,
episode and
I
give
feel
people
like they
names. You
had
know what I
this
mean?
really famous actor because he is a big actor over here, Phil
Yeah.
Lambert. And I feel like they had this really famous actor, thought we can't miss this opportunity to have him on it loads. And he was there acting, talking about these bloody pigeons constantly.
Oh, the George Benson guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just feel
Oh,
like it was just really, it was just boring, wasn't it? It just
yeah.
annoyed me. And I know they had to like, because he's a good actor. I'm not saying it didn't convince me. He did convince me that he was an annoying person who loved his pigeons loads. And do you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like that was unbelievable. It was just stupid. Like, I don't care about your pigeons, mate.
Well, it was like, I mean, and oh, sorry, so many like weird ack noises there. But anyways, like, what was even the point of it? Like, why was he? I mean, he said that he loved the pigeons from his childhood, and like, he really connected with them and everything. But it's like, sir, what happened to you? Like, why? I mean, I get like you have a thing, but like,
I
I
think it's
don't
like
know.
everything's changing around him. Obviously, he's got to leave his house, everything he's known. He doesn't have any other family.
Yeah,
They are his family. They are his kin. I just put here,
Yeah.
he just kept banging on about birds.
but
It
it felt
doesn't.
like such a thin motivation, like, oh, I just love pigeons, like. Not really a reason why, just do, I don't know.
Yeah,
He
but they were
didn't think
talented.
twice. He didn't think twice about giving them up, though.
Well, he did because he was like,
He
he
did.
wouldn't
He
go
was
to
like,
a sanatorium.
no.
He didn't want to.
Yeah.
And then Reggie was like, I'll look after what they did. They found like good homes for him and stuff. And
Pigeon
he was like,
pie.
I'll bet they'll take my pigeons. I bet they will. I bet they'll take my prize winning pigeons. I was like, all right, mate. But but he was like kicking up a bit of a fuss, and Dr. Turner was a bit like, mate, you've only spoken to birds for the past however long. You need to get a grip.
Well, the thing is that they spent so much time trying to figure out what was wrong with him. By the time they figured out it was the pigeons, they didn't have any time for him to have like an emotional arc about what was going to happen to these birds. You know what I mean? So it
Well,
was
should we
like,
talk about how? So Reggie went round. So Fred took Reggie as well, didn't he? The second time.
yeah.
And I
Meet
think
him.
Fred, yeah, but I think he brought him as a bit like, because he was in a CDC uniform and stuff at first. I think he thought he might be a bit intimidating. So then he brought Reggie, who
Yeah.
he knew would not be like, Reggie's very affable. He's a very friendly kid. I think I think he knew that would help him kind of get in the door, make him not seem as threatening. So he took, and also it's, something for Reggie to do. Reggie was all excited about it. So Reggie was there and he was teaching him how to, what's the word? Hold the bird.
Hold
Yeah.
Hold
the
it close
pigeon.
to your heartbeat. She can sense when you're calm. It's like, really? Okay.
It would not be calm if Jenn was holding a pigeon because she'd be thinking it's infecting
Oh,
you.
I wouldn't. No, the pigeon wouldn't be feeling anything good for me at that point. It would be like, please, please, please let me out. And I would be like, you know what? You're right. I never should
So
have done
anyway, Reggie
this. I
kind
made a
of
grave mistake.
has a little bit of a friendship with him, and he goes to see him because he wants to see the pigeons again because he's teaching him about birds and stuff. Because that's the kind of thing that you need to be doing, not thinking he's an absolute weirdo and get away from him. And he collapses, and so Reggie calls Dr. Turner, and he comes round to see him, doesn't he?
Yep.
And then they have this whole thing about what's going actually wrong. And then one of the trainee doctors, Dr. McNulty.
Well, they think it's TB and they do a TB test.
Yes.
Then Dr. Turner
But it comes back that it's not, and then he's talking to Sister Julian about it, conveniently like right over from Val and Dr. McNulty, who are having a little heart-to-heart themselves.
Dr.
Or company
McNulty
or something.
whispers to Val what he thinks it is, and then Val's like, "Go on, speak up. Go on, go on."
And it's
That's
so
the kind
funny
of thing
because
I do, and then just shout it out.
But Dr. McNulty was like, oh no, I couldn't. He's a GP with more than 30 years of experience. And it was so funny because like he absolutely is, but like because Dr. Turner's like Dr. Turner, I just don't I feel like he's just like our chum, you know what I mean? He's like our regular like dorky doctor dad, you know? And
And also,
and then
he
he
might.
was like acting like he was so esteemed and everything, which he is. It really deserves, but it just was like funny because I'm like, I would, you know, like why wouldn't you just go right up to Dr. Turner and be like, "Oh, hey, I got a really great idea." I don't know.
Also, Dr. Turner spends 80% of his time delivering babies.
Yeah, which to be fair, it should be going down the
Actually,
amount of times he does it because they have contraception now.
I was gonna say I don't think Doctor does deliver that many babies. I think he does a lot more like the random stuff, you know?
I still think he spends most of his time
It's
delivering
too
babies.
much time with babies.
If you he does he it's a lot, but
More
the
than your
thing is
average GP, Jen.
but on the show, yeah, definitely for a GP he does. But like on the show, he's not part of that many births. He's much more part of like other wacky things that happen. Like
But
he'll
see, they
assist with the
tend to get
births,
him
but
to stand there.
Yeah, he just stands there while they do the work. So really, he needn't be there.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And that's even when they get him in the
Stands
room.
and
Like that's not
observes.
even that common. Like
Basically, these little doctors that they got here are basically just standing Dr. Turners. They just stand there while the midwives do the work.
well, I love the part where, and this is like, we'll get into it more, but like where Dr. Walters says, like, oh, BP is like 120 over 50 or whatever, like that. And Trixie is like, tell her, not me. And he was like, oh, okay. Well, ma'am, your blood pressure is one. She's like, yep, thank you.
Well, so
I
McNulty,
like that. That's what
so
they needed
McNulty
to
doesn't
do.
want to tell Dr. Turner, but Val kind of makes him. So instead of just telling Dr. Turner straight away, he goes into this really weird rambling story about his dad
It
owned.
took forever. Like he didn't want to,
I don't want to take your time up, but I'm going to tell you a
but I'm
story
going to
for
tell
20
you,
minutes.
yeah, in a really long and
Dr. Turner
contrived
is like,
way.
young man, get to the
Yeah, but
point.
I'm going to tell you something. It doesn't matter. It isn't even relevant to our story at all until I actually get to the
Well,
point at the very end. He's like,
it
"Oh, my dad owned a bike shop and da da da," and then it was my mum's brother who lived near a coal mine, and I was like, "Just get to the bloody
Oh,
point."
because he says the whole thing about it wasn't even that nice where my uncle lived, but it felt like the countryside to us because we lived in like some
Yeah, and I'm
like
like,
urban
"Shut up."
dump area. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess that's helpful to know. So thanks.
So anyway, he tells Dr. Turner that it was
Yeah.
brought on by pigeons. It was or birds or whatever he had, and it was his daplasmosis.
Histoplasmosis.
Histoplasm. I've written it really badly.
Oh, I forgot instantly. I was like, I'm not investing myself in this diagnosis. I'm really
It,
not.
it took Dr. Turner a TB test, a look through all of his journals and
What's
Encyclopedia Britannica, whatever it was.
and the
Yeah.
And
Lancets.
then, yeah, and then this medical student, immediately I was like, it's the bird droppings.
Yeah,
Well, you're literally
you should have
gonna
been there.
live in a house where there's like animals pooping everywhere indoors, like, and you're not gonna even think that there's something associated with that. Like pigeons, like birds,
Hang on, I will
birds.
say, in his defense, he was a man.
Oh no. What?
He was a man.
What does that mean?
Well, why are men?
It sounds like men just go to the bathroom anywhere and everywhere they want, just like birds or wild
No,
animals
I'm just
do.
saying he wouldn't have thought anything of it because he's a man. He'd just been like, "Oh, there's bird dropping on the floor," you know.
But
I like
also
the way.
there was water running through the ceiling as well. Like
oh yeah, active
it must
drip.
have stank of
Active.
damp in there.
But I
Oh,
like the way
well,
the only reason that he actually got some help and actually managed to move house and stuff is because Dr. Turner said to him these immortal words. Do you think that's what your birds would want?
And then he just goes,
and then they do a
no,
close up
no,
of
it's not
Dot
what
and
they
she's
want.
like, you
I
know,
don't know what noise birds
she's
make.
like brr, brr.
Yeah, that's it.
She's like, George, go to the home.
I'll miss you,
Don't
George.
on a workout.
But
And
there's poo everywhere.
you taking care of me mum and me nan and me great nan. Let us go, George.
Please let us go, George. I'm sick of being held next to your heart.
Despite what you think, I really don't feel that calm when you hold me. I
And then
really
I
want to
put,
just
he then
hear.
moves into a flat, never to be seen again, despite being the world of Reggie and Fred. They're proper
Oh,
into him, proper getting it sorted. He comes to see the CDC, which was one of the worst speeches I've ever seen, talking about how he loves his birds and stuff. Like, I'm not being funny, but that would have been absolutely made fun of.
well, that was
And
another insane scene to me. But the thing is,
yeah,
like, in terms of his ending though, like people get shipped off all the time and we never hear from them. You know what I mean? Like Reggie has made like remember the guy with leprosy? Like Reggie was like his bestie that whole episode, and then never a mention. Like, oh, have you emailed? Not emailed. Duh. Have you have you written a letter
you
to
FaceTimed?
Yeah, have you whatever to like that man? No, nothing. I mean, all of these people go into the void, and it's just like the black hole of Call the Midwife. Like
It's Connie I miss.
yeah, but I will say, like, the CDC talk was so random. Like, he literally talked for 4 minutes. I was like, "What's the point of this?" Like, and it looked like
but in an hour-long episode, we weren't gonna watch 45 minutes.
Yeah, it was the end of it, like.
But it didn't. Well, oh, was it? Because
Yeah.
it seemed like he was talking, and then something interrupted, and then they were like,
He got a cough.
Oh yeah, but then Fred was like, "Well, we'll finish up next week." I'm like, "What?" I was just like, "Sir, can you not get a lozenge or something or like a glass of water?" I just was like, "No, we're not coming back and doing another bird talk next week, man. Like, no, I don't want to do that."
My mum and dad do that. My mum and dad are part of, like if anyone's listening who's part of these groups, I do apologise. But they were in Ladies Circle and Round Table, and now it's like Fellowship After Round Table farts. Lols. And what do you call it? Like the Tangent or whatever, which are older people who were in it. And literally, like, my mum pays to go and watch people do talks on stuff that, honestly, I'd just be like, what
Like
are you
pigeons?
doing with your life? Yeah, well, that kind of thing. I'll ask them if they've had pigeon talks.
Well, my mum is in the Women's Institute, and they have a talk every month.
Yeah, I'm just like, this is how you choose.
They're a speaker.
Oh, yeah, I'm just
Well,
like,
but when you're retired,
I got asked to go and do it because, so I got asked to do a speaker thing with my mum joint because we were on Pointless, and they were like about what it's like to be on a game show. I was like, no, you can go without me, mum. It's absolutely fine. You can regale them. Like, she was like, oh, we could get paid work. I thought, no, we won't, mum. No, we won't.
You can get paid work.
Not going to be the next Barack Obama of the.
They're like, think about the speaking engagement circuit that you and I are going to get on. We're going to talk about one appearance.
We were on a game show in 2012. Get over it.
Yeah.
We won.
She was excited.
She was. Anyway, so we never saw George again.
No,
that's fine, honestly.
The bright, what's that expression?
The spot?
The silver lining?
Yeah, the silver lining at the end of that was that a pigeon landed on his balcony.
Oh, that was nice. That was nice. I will say the thing I did think
was a bit like, go, make sure that doesn't go in your flat, mate.
Oh yeah, he needed to close the door. Well, he was going to offer it food and everything. I was like, George, you're going to get yourself into trouble again. But the thing I did think was kind of cool, and I have actually heard this, is when he said the thing about how we still don't know how they know where to go, or like how they know where home is, and they know how to do all of that. And that is honestly fascinating. Like, I mean, I don't have anything to offer about that, but I do think that like nature facts like that, like the mystery of how animals just instinctively understand
how to... They've got a magnetic sense called magnetoreception, which they let them navigate the Earth in a magnetic field.
Come on, like it's more than that. Like, give them credit. Give them
something.
They also
use visual cues and can navigate based on landmarks along known travel routes. Do you know?
Yeah, I thought they followed rivers and
things. Don't take the mystery out of it.
Have you seen Secret Life of Pets too?
The cartoon?
Yeah, you should watch it. Just saying, that'll help you. That'll take the mystique out of pigeons for you.
I think I'm good. I'd rather keep a little magic in my life than suck it all out by watching the mystery of the Secret Life of Pets 2, the animated
it's really good. It's really good.
Oh, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is.
Anyway,
but yeah, George was gonna.
Oh, he was gonna die soon anyway, I reckon. Right, next one.
Should we talk about the 4 doctors? Because that leads on to our births, doesn't it?
Yes, the Young Doctors. Did you used to watch Young Doctors when you were little, Bex? Or your mum?
Watch the Flying Doctors.
Oh, they meant the Flying Doctors. What's the Young Doctors? I don't know what the Young Doctors is.
Was that
Flying
a real
Doctors.
Show?
Yeah, Flying Doctors was based on like in Australia. It was like just before Neighbours. Jim Robinson was in it with a big loads of afro. You don't know who Jim Robinson is. I'm acting like you know him.
No,
that must be why I watched it, because it was on before Neighbours.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean it was on before Neighbours, as in it was years before Neighbours.
Oh, I see.
It was on before Sons and Daughters.
So let me just make sure I understand. So the show that they were watching in Call the Midwife was Flying Doctors?
Oh no.
Oh no,
or Young Doctors.
We watched that in the 80s.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Do you know what show they were talking about that they were watching? That they were like, ooh, doctors are so dreamy, and then they were like, yeah, none of those doctors are in St. Cuthbert's. Remember that?
Oh yeah,
like,
I do.
What show was that?
I don't.
Yeah, okay. I wish they had showed a scene where they showed somebody like because the scene that they showed on the TV, the doctor was like turned away and like you only saw the side of his face. And I was like, well, I don't know. He didn't look bad. He didn't look good. He didn't look like anything because you couldn't really see his face. But
Well,
they
I
were
really
all
like the
very
fact
like
that
swoony.
2 of the doctors they brought obviously were on a lower pay rate because they weren't paid to speak.
And you know what?
Yes, exactly.
Only 3 of them are on the credits. One of them doesn't even make the credits.
Oh, poor the other doctor. We don't know. We'd give him some credit here. Should we make up a
Well,
name
it
for him?
probably because he didn't even have enough screen time to like warrant, you know what I mean?
Oh,
I
let's
don't
call him
know.
Dr. Forsyth.
Okay. Those two spent a lot of time unpacking. That's what they spent most of their time doing.
So they came to Nonnatus House. So this is one of Sister Julienne's, like she obviously knows that the future of Nonnatus House is threatened. So
Well, she's been on a mission, hasn't she?
Oh
Properly
yeah,
trying.
she
Yeah.
left and she was like so forceful with the umbrella and everyone was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, where are you going?" And she didn't even stop
Yeah.
to say anything. And then she went to talk to Dr. Turner and he was like, "I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's gonna happen that fast." She's like, "Sir, it's
Tomorrow.
happening tomorrow. Like, can you get your head on straight, please?" He was like, "Oh, good point, actually." He's like, "Yeah, this really is a problem. Okay, hold on a second. Let me try to fix it."
so they get the 4 doctors. They're joining Nonnatus House as part of their interim diploma training.
Mm-hmm.
Which they
And
needed.
we meet Kevin McNulty,
Yeah.
Benedict Walters, who
Does anyone know who that is? I do know who that is.
No.
I do know,
Okay, who did he play?
Prince Edward.
Yes, there you go. He played Prince Edward in The Crown. They
Yeah.
had a scene in one of the later, not the last season, but before. Yeah.
Do you
And
know,
he
I
was
watched The
also
Crown. I'd never have told you that in a month of Sundays.
he was also in The Witcher, and
Not seen that.
Oh.
he's in a new Hulu series. Now in Call the Midwife, he didn't look that attractive. His name's Sam Wolf. If you look at his like headshot, he is
IMDb.
really quite attractive.
Yeah, here, wait, look, I've got it here. Because
Yeah.
I saw this and I was like, whoa, 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 where was this man?
Yes, look at that.
Yeah.
I don't think he still looks like a weird top to me.
The thing is he's got I will say I thought the casting for him as like aristocratic was very good because he does have that look like he's kind of
And
got
and if
like
he's
he's
playing Prince Edward, he has that
yeah, yeah, he's kind of got that look of like he's young but he's already got eye bags. You know what I mean? That he's clearly inherited from like 45 generations that have all been in the same, you know what I'm saying? Like he just has
yeah.
a look of like, yes, this is a person who was born with like a silver spoon in his mouth. I don't know anything about the real man, but like he just does have that look of like, you
Well, he
know.
plays Toff very well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
And
the line where they came down and Phyllis handed them the rota, which I just loved. And then they're like, "Wait, we're at the bottom." She's like, "Oh, I see your power of observation is very strong." And he's like, "Well, what about hot water for shaving?" And she's like, "We've got a kettle, babe. Figure it out. I'm really not even gonna." Oh, I loved it. I loved it. Phyllis was so over them even before they ever got there. It was
I
so
loved
good.
Val giving up her bed to Phyllis. So Val was like,
Oh,
look, right, I can't, this is actually purely selfish, right? And it wasn't.
yeah.
She was just like, it's to stop your lumbago. I can't let you not have the bed. And she was like, well, I'm gonna have to accept. I love that.
I will say it was generous, but it also was because we've all been in situations like that with all of our friends and each other and everything, where one of us will do something that isn't like the nicest because we know another person is going to like complain so much if they don't get the thing that they want to get. Have you ever, we've all done that.
Yeah,
We've all done that.
usually you, Jen.
Oh,
It's not.
listeners, that is not true.
It's not true. It's not true. We all know who it is. We
I,
all know who it is.
I wasn't singling out any of the 3 of us. I was talking about like all of our friendship groups.
Yeah, I
You know
know,
what I
but we
mean?
all know who we're talking about. Anyway,
well, the doctors come in and Lucille immediately says when Benedict is introduced, "Are you any relation of Sir Howard Walters?" Now, Walters
Yes,
is such a common.
it is. My primary school teacher was
I
Mr.
know.
Walters. Do you know what I mean?
I
But
know. Like it's like the John Smith. You know what I mean? It's like, are you kidding me?
And I did think that when going back to your comment about how they were really shocked that they were last on the bathroom rota,
Mm-hmm.
they've never been last for anything in their lives.
No,
Ever.
no.
Ever. These boys were just so shocked. Like, yeah,
But also, what do you call him?
absolutely ever.
McNulty was all like, oh, yeah, he's got a silver spoon in his mouth. You didn't grow up in a slum, mate. Your parents had a bike shop. It wasn't like they were just, begging in the streets. You had a business that was thriving. Do you know what I mean? Like, that could
Yeah.
support a family. Shut up.
But I will
Well,
say, so Kevin McNulty, played by Lee Armstrong, he was in Dunkirk. I did a bit.
oh,
That's what I say.
I
Good
didn't like
research
that
there.
movie, but that's
But
good.
did
Do you think
he
he's friends with Harry Styles?
Could have been.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Sorry, carry on back.
did he remind you loads of Matthew Good?
Oh, you know what? I could see that. I could
Yeah.
absolutely see
Who's
that.
Matthew Good?
He looks
isn't it
just
just
like Kevin McNulty.
isn't it Matthew? I always just pronounced it good.
It
It's good.
probably is.
Oh.
Oh, when you say Matthew Good,
It's good with an E.
Oh, from Downton Abbey. Yeah, he does look like him.
Yeah.
He looks like his like little brother, you know what I mean? He's got that look, but like Matthew Good is like they look a lot alike, but Matthew Good is very, very good looking to me. So I don't know. But yeah, they do look a lot alike actually.
But there's tension.
Oh, go on.
Well, I was just going to say there's tension between Benedict and Kevin.
Yeah.
I will say Kevin had better manners. He apologized at tea. He offered
Kevin's lovely.
Yeah, we like Kevin.
Kevin is Dr. Walters?
Yes. No, Kevin
McNulty.
Dr.
Oh, McNulty, yeah.
Val's doctor.
So here's a question for you girls. Like, I understand his gripe about, like, oh, everything's come so like he's like what's his face Walters is like a natural, and like we were on some rotation and I had to read like every single freaking book there was, and he just breezed in and like did so good and everything. I'm like, I get it, but like I don't know. I felt sympathy, but at the same time I was like, look, everybody's got their own struggles, sir.
I can't say I didn't feel any sympathy. That's why I was saying, like, get over it.
I was just like, we all gotta work hard in this life, you know what I mean? Like, you got your stuff, he's got his stuff.
He was a hell of a lot more privileged than Val growing up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I was just like, well, also like, like what, you want to just walk, like, I don't know. I just was like, come on, like, stop complaining. Like,
don't get me wrong, I'm sure that Benedict was so insufferable to be hanging around with. It must be a
annoying. Yeah. I mean, he was kind of an annoying character anyway, like in a type of a way.
Yeah.
Like he was very know-it-all. Like even the minute he walked in, like he was already like, "Oh, I didn't know nuns look like this." And Trixie's like, "I'm a trained midwife. Can you please?" He was like, "Oh, well."
Just really disrespectful. Like if you're not, it's
like hitting on her day one. Yeah. Well, he would have been one of those doctors that like Jennifer Wurst talked about in her books, where they look at all of the nurses as just like the personal dating pool of all the doctors, you know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, I'm just going to pick like my nurse of the week, basically. And
although we can talk about it in a minute, but I do think he kind of learned something from Trixie.
No, he did. He absolutely did. As I said in my beautifully worded synopsis, they learned a lot about the medical profession and life. I was so beautiful in listening to that.
Yeah. It's true.
There was also a scene where they came downstairs, and did anyone notice Dr. McNulty's beige twin set?
Yes. The sweater and the vest that were all like one shirt and like how? Oh yeah, my God,
it was
so good.
Awful. I think that's the worst fashion we've seen so far.
It was, but like that was so on point for the time. And what I loved was then, not to jump to this, but Mrs. Pike, her husband, like Kev or whatever his name was, that he was wearing like that Harry, that he was wearing that like half suede, half knitted like sweater vest thing when the baby was coming or whatever like that. Oh my God. I mean, yeah, there were a lot of like wacky vests in this episode that were really, it was something. That was very of the time though. I think that was like good fashion for the time.
So let's get back to the doctor. So they all go to clinic, and then, as you've spoken before, they were talking about telling them to speak to the women, and you were there seeing them all basically go through all this, do blood pressure and stuff, trying to talk to the women. They were awful. And it was really good to see them be awful, because obviously that's what they're there for, to learn how to actually speak to people. They're there to actually learn to have patience and all this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And Benedict was, I've written here, Benedict helping man. Don't know what that means. What? Benedict helping man? But I've just put Benedict an arrogant arsehole, so something happened there. But Benedict was Benedict did the first birth, didn't he? And what was her name?
Well, Mrs. Jessup comes in, Elsie. She just casually walks into clinic saying that her waters have broken.
Yep.
She also describes her last birth as being like dogs out of the gate.
Oh, I didn't like that.
What an expression.
I didn't like. It was a terrible visual for me. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't like that. I was like, ma'am, you don't really need to say that.
Shelling peas.
So she just casually goes to clinic. Then she just casually sits in the tea room. Then they have to ask everybody to leave.
Why? That was crazy to me. Why couldn't they have been like, okay, let's pick you up and we're gonna go into another place?
Put you in a booth. Yeah.
I just was like, with that. No. That made no sense. I'm like, you literally don't have 2 minutes to walk her into anywhere else. Like, I didn't get it.
There were doors to the cafe area, so they could have, like, she had privacy in there. I don't know why everybody had to leave clinic.
Oh no,
I
they were
thought they
leaving
just had to
they
left
were
the
just leaving the
cafe.
cafe area.
I just don't know why she didn't have why she had to stay in the cafe. Like, why couldn't they have like put her in one of the like
Yeah, they were just getting people to leave the cafe area back.
Oh, okay, well that's fine then.
They cleared the whole clinic for her.
So anyway, so what do you call him? Benedict's really arrogant. They start this like chalkboard of who's done the most births, which Nurse Crane
Rude.
didn't seem to approve of, which I was a bit like, oh, let them have a bit of fun. And then Dr. Benedict, or whatever his name is, was all got a bit drunk and was like,
no, wait, no, we've got too far. I need to,
go on.
Firstly, I need to say, when he put a tick on that, because he delivered Elsie's baby, when he put his tick on the board, he's like, read it and we. I'm like, excuse me, William's already got a tick on that board.
Oh, that's right.
William the mute.
Well, I think William is the third doctor that's named in the credits. It's the other doctor that just isn't named.
Girls,
because he did a birth.
I watched the whole episode 2 times. I couldn't pick any of those other guys out from the lineup. I wouldn't even know what they look like.
I also have to say that Mrs. Jessup did amazing hair acting.
Hair acting.
She came in, she had, her hair was just massive, back combed. And if you ever go back, I mean, none of us will go back and watch this episode.
No, I didn't like this episode.
Oh, her hairline got more sweaty and sweaty.
But no, well, it wasn't just the sweat. It just got fluffier and fluffier and fluffier. It was just amazing.
Those videos you see of kids on the first day of school, like when you pick them up, they look like absolute hell. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
So anyway, so he gets a bit drunk and he's dead arrogant and he goes into Nonnatus House and he's like, "Oh, anyone for cricket?" And he's trying to play cricket in the clinical room. We always don't know what it's called, that place. No, we did it inside.
Oh, I thought it was. Well, but how though? They blew out the window on the front of it.
But also to drinking. Go on,
Bex. No, they were drinking in there, and then they went outside and played cricket.
Yeah, but he broke something inside, and this is what really annoyed me.
I thought they hit a ball and they broke a window, and that's what the ladies heard that got scared and came down.
Oh, maybe. Well,
they batted a ball, and it was the...
Well, but point being, Hilda and everyone are all going down the stairs, all scared, because they're going to go and check. Sister Hilda, sorry, going down the stairs to check if anything broken in. Then, like, surely you'd have realised.
Goes down first.
Well, also you'd have thought there's men in this house. Ask them for help. Do you know what I mean? And then they'd have realised when the men weren't in their bed. Oh, it's them who's making all the noise. Do you know what I mean?
See, I actually didn't think that because I was like, if you spent all your time with no men there, you wouldn't automatically default like to think, oh, let me go get the men. Like it made sense to me that Phyllis was like, oh, I'm the take charge one. I'm going to take charge.
Also, that all used to be in. Well, no, because they're all used to being are all out at all times of night on the rough streets of the East End. I think they can all handle themselves.
I don't mean it like that. I mean, they'll see that it's them. Like, you check that it wasn't them.
Yeah, but why would you think that they were smashing a window downstairs?
Yeah,
they were.
Well, they actually were.
I know they were, but you wouldn't necessarily go to think that.
But they were making cocktails with all of the, what do you call that vessel that they had?
Oh, the beakers.
The beakers. Yeah. And he christens it. Does he christen it the Nonnatus? And he describes he describes it as full of the Holy Spirit, but a little bit bitter. A little bitter. And I just thought, how rude and inaccurate.
Rude. Sorry. Keep going, Bex.
Well, that's it. I was just so rude.
It was.
It was rude. It was incredibly rude. I'm like, these women have opened their houses to you. They've bunked up their beds. They've put themselves on a bathroom rota, and they've done all this, and now you're eating all their lunch meat, and now you're gonna be so mad, like so insensitive as to like drink at night and like wake them all up and break their windows and like I just was like insensitive. Why couldn't they have just gone to the hand and shears like everybody else? Like,
well, what annoyed me as well is, so Dr. McNulty was like, basically, don't do this, guys. You shouldn't do this. And then he was being admonished with the rest of them, even though he had no part of it. I was a bit like,
oh, I thought he did. He was outside playing with them.
No, he was like, I don't want to be part of this.
Yeah, but was he part of
he stayed with the group. I think he didn't have any drinks, but he stayed playing cricket because he was outside.
He's a moron then.
Well, that's why Val was so mad at him because remember then he comes in and he like sits next to her and he says something and she's like, "Oh," or he says like, "Don't you have something to teach me or you could teach me something?" And she's like, "What? Like manners?" And he was like, "Oh, yeah." And she's like, "Well, listen, just because everybody else is doing it doesn't mean you get to do it too. Like I thought you were better than that basically." And he was like, "Oh, you're right. I really should have been."
I'm
And then
not.
that's when he started complaining about how he's like, "Yeah, but the thing is that like, Walter says everything comes so easy to him. Like I've had to work so hard and I just wish it was like so easy for me and da da da." And she's like, "Okay, get over yourself. I really don't want to hear it."
But this is also where we learn about Walter having a bit of a chip on his shoulder about basically he's kind of got so much expectation on him because of who his dad is.
Yeah,
He's
which
like, you're
that's
not
hard.
gonna,
That is
and
hard,
also
yeah.
basically trying to drink too much because of that, And Trixie's like, you're not gonna find the answer in the bottom of your, do you know what I mean? Bottom of a glass or
Yeah.
whatever. So that was actually quite a good moving scene between them.
It was. Well, and she does say, she's like, look, oh, because then he actually sounded kind of like a psychopath when he said this, but basically he's like, you know how when a baby is born and you guys are all like so happy and excited and really into it and like caring and loving and everything? Like, I feel none of that.
Like I'm just not. I'm just not.
He's like, I don't have any of those feelings. And she's like, well, maybe this isn't the field for you. And he's like, yeah, I don't know if I really get a choice. And she was like, well, it's up to you to decide, but you won't find the answer at the bottom of that bottle. And like, I know from experience. And he was like, yeah, wise words. So they had a nice connection, actually. I feel like he looked at her with a lot more respect and depth than when they first started, which I was glad about.
And he
So
did replace the glass thing that he broke, and I thought that showed a bit of compassion towards them as well.
yeah, absolutely.
And that can't have been easy to replace. It's not like there's a beaker shop nearby.
Well, I bet his dad's probably got a warehouse full of them.
I think for somebody with money it wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah.
But
Well, no, but it's not affording it. It's where you find it.
Yeah, we don't have Amazon in those days, to be fair.
mm,
The doctors all kind of there was a lot of tension, but at one point, Dr. McNulty shouted, "Give me your car keys" to Benedict, and he just threw them at him.
Yeah.
Which I thought, is that nice? Is that good? But apparently it's supposed to be. So him and Val went off
well,
to
he said he said like I have to go do something or like there's a baby or he said something that made it
no,
seem
no,
like
but
legit.
like if he really did think he was that awful, he wouldn't have given him. Do you know what I mean? So he
But
obviously wasn't that awful.
Is it
Oh,
a
I think they were
product?
friends, yeah.
Is it a product of how privileged he is that he doesn't think anything of anyone else taking his car because it's just,
Oh, just nothing to him.
yeah,
Hmm.
it's just like someone borrowing his
He
bike.
might have just been being nice. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't that
I
bad.
don't think he was, Jen.
So we won't talk about what the birth was because that's our next storyline. So we'll ignore that bit,
Mhm.
but basically let him do that. And also, like the doctors basically were all getting on a bit better at the end, weren't they? They were all kind of getting
Yeah.
along better. He showed a bit
Yeah.
more compassion. They were talking to the ladies' faces, not their vaginas. Like it was a lot better towards the
Yeah.
end. And then literally that was it. They were done. It was just like, oh, one episode done and gone. They were like, yeah, they're coming tomorrow. They're going now. Bye.
Well, and also not to be like spoiler alert here, but I think we're gonna see somebody again.
Well, yes.
Do we-
So
Oh God.
well, just you wait and see, Bex.
Did you see Val and when they spoke about Dr. McNulty to Val, she was a bit blushing.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, wonder where this storyline's going to go. It did not go
I
where I expected it to go.
No, not at all. Not at all.
You don't
Absolutely
know anything
not.
about this, Bex. Bex is looking at us with incredulously.
No, I didn't know anything about this.
Is that a joke?
No,
Well,
I
Wait till
didn't
you
know.
see how this pans out, Bex. You won't see it coming. I can tell you that for nothing.
It's like the Sergeant Wolf storyline.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If I was to pronounce Sergeant Wolf in the same way that I pronounce Matthew Good, I'd call him Sergeant
Wolf.
Woof.
That's the German one. Wolf. Wolf.
That's Aubrey to you, ma'am.
Yeah.
That's what he always says. Yeah.
Whenever anyone says Aubrey, I always think of Drake.
Mm-hmm. Okay, flash poll. If you had to pick between McNulty or Walters, which one would you want to go out with on a date?
Based on their IMDb headshots, I'd pick Dr. Walters.
I would
But you'd
only
have-
pick
based on their
McNulty.
personality, I would pick. Well, no, because he is attractive, Dr. McNulty. Dr. McNulty all the way.
I'd have to.
Mm.
I've got a real problem with posh people, as we all know.
Oh my God, on the IMDb, yeah, you would definitely not go for the posh show. But on IMDb, there's no headshot for him, and on IMDb, there's a headshot for a guy who Callum Sharp, who played Dr. Nigel Fielding, and this is his headshot. Look at this. Do you remember this man?
Yes, I do remember him.
I
So
don't at
William,
all. I literally have no idea who the other two doctors were. I
so
couldn't pick them
no,
out of a
so
lineup.
It's William then who's not credited. You know who had the first tick on the
Oh,
board?
John Burbeck, this guy. He's a nothing burger.
Plot twist, he's huge in Hollywood now. John Birkbeck's got a few weeks before this episode airs.
Yeah, really. Oh man. I think you should, yeah, I don't know. His known for is like, really? Okay, so anyways, but yeah. Ooh,
What are
this
you
is
looking
also
on
good.
IMDb now? You two start
This
looking at
is this
IMDb.
is this is Mr. Pike. Wait, there we
Harry
go.
Pike.
Yeah.
Harry
He's pretty
Pike.
good.
Do you
He's
know what?
cute.
Have you heard of Harry Kane?
No.
The
So,
footballer.
yeah, so Harry Kane's like the captain of the England squad. And my dad was like, oh, like Hurricane. I don't know why. I'd never thought of that. Like, it is like Hurricane, Harry Kane.
Well, that's
Yeah,
good.
I never thought of that either.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that's cooler than it should be. Anyway,
Yeah.
speaking of Harry Pike,
Yep. Mrs. Pike.
yeah, so you got
She's
Leslie
she's
Pike.
beautiful too,
He
actually.
was really beautiful. Leslie Pike. They've already got one child, haven't they? And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harry Pike's her husband, and he's a wrong'un. Always a
Although
Yeah.
wrong'un.
let's be real, this is her IMDb photo. It's not doing her as much justice because
No.
she's so pretty. She's a beautiful woman. That's just more of like a regular old photo, I think. But anyways, in the episode they say she used to be a model. That's part of it. That's part of her storyline.
Yeah. So he's a wheeler dealer. He's always got
He's a bit of
something
a, he's a
on.
bit of there, he's a bit of a Del boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically he like apparently sells merchandise off the back of trucks that falls off and stuff like
And
that.
they
He's got,
live
like
in the top of a new build flats. And he's like, why do you think I've gone on the top floor, Lav, not mate. Lav, police won't come up our way, will they? And he's just breaking his back, bringing loads of old toasters and stuff, or mixed toasters up there and stuff. And she's like, Harry, I don't want this round the baby. And he's like, police ain't gonna come up here, are they, Lav? And it's just,
Well, and what does he say? He's like the hair dryer is selling really well, but the toaster isn't, or something. The tea kettle is doing good, but something else isn't. And it's just like, oh my God, you just have your house just filled with like a whole bunch of junk all the time. Just
he's trying to build something for us here, Lav, for this little un. And she's like crying.
It's not that bad. Oh,
She's like
God.
silently sobbing while he's dragging a fridge freezer in.
You know what was funny? It was when this wasn't funny, but when she started to go into labor and she's on their floor in their flat, and so she starts like going out to the hallway and just being like, "Help! Help! Someone help me!" And she gets to the she like basically like leans against the wall and then just like slides down because she just is in so much pain she can't take it. And then he comes and he's like, "Oh love! Oh no! Oh no!" And she's like, "Harry, help me!" He's like, "Yeah, I'll be right back. Just 1 second. I'll be right back." And like obviously he's gonna go call for help, but she's like, "Harry, and like she's like, she's like, don't leave me here. Like he's not leaving actually. Like he really is just gonna go call for help. But it was just funny because she did act like he was just completely abandoning her. But
Well,
yeah.
emotionally, he is by dragging toasters into the house.
But you never see their other kid anywhere.
Well, no, he is holding him throughout the birth, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Oh, I missed that. Okay, that's on me. But
Because then they're
someone,
like,
someone was
perhaps
into Harry Pike more than the baby, obviously.
they were like,
clearly, I
perhaps,
noticed that sweater vest he was wearing, but not that freaking child.
Not
So,
the baby
oh
he was
well.
wearing.
No, not
because
at
they
all.
said perhaps you should actually take the baby out of here while his mum screams in pain.
And he was like, "No, I'm not gonna do that.
It's
I
like,
want to be
it's
here."
all right, I'll build him a bed out of toasters. So we call Nonnatus House, and it is Val who's on call, and Dr. McNulty goes with her in
Mm-hmm.
Dr.
And it's
Walter's car.
because Dr. McNulty hasn't delivered a baby yet, so he needs to cross this off his list.
Yeah, he's like, "I'm here to help. Let me help."
Now,
And she's like,
I don't
"Okay."
want to do a spoiler, but I'm going to do a spoiler. There's a something storyline coming up makes me very uncomfortable, and I think this is another reason why I didn't want to watch this episode. And it involves Dr. McNulty and his proclivity to cut people for episiotomies. And basically, he was about to do episiotomy, and I thought it was the one where he did the episiotomy. So, spoiler alert, everyone. Sorry, I've just spoiled the next episode or next 3 episodes or whatever it is. But point
Yeah.
being, he basically panicked because it was very tight down there, which made me want to die. And he was just like, "We'll get this is," and he went to grab them, was about to do, and when Val stopped him and was like, "Just breathe, chick, breathe," or whatever. And yeah, I nearly fainted, guys. I'm not gonna lie.
Ugh.
So
Well, he was
what was the actual issue with the birth? The birth was more complicated than I thought it was going
Well,
to be.
it was a big baby, wasn't
and
it?
the baby's arm was like behind its back instead of in front, and so it was not able to like slide out or move the way that she wanted. So she had to get and I don't get how any of this works, but she basically had one arm come out first,
And she had to
and
like
then
hook her finger in.
yeah, and she had to like put her hand in to like shift the baby, and then they got the arm out, and then the baby was able to come out. And then when the baby came out, then he also was like rushing to cut the umbilical cord, and she's like, no, 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 hold on, like you have to clamp it, which by the way, like no dir, like all of us know that because we've read all the books and watched the show a million times. And he was like, whoa. And so then he clamped it and then he cut the cord, but then the baby wasn't breathing. And so then they were like, why isn't the baby making any noise? And so they were all freaked out about that. And then they had to do the thing where I don't get what this mechanism is, but it's like that glass jar with the two tubes, and Val had to like suck on the tube.
They just clear
It
the
clears
gun
the
count
tubes, doesn't it?
I
Yeah.
know, but
it's
I
throat.
don't know. Ugh. And
Right,
so
so they
then
have two tubes for like for sanitary reasons. Like obviously, it's not just sucking out of the thing; it goes into the tube, so you're sucking it.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's gross.
Now,
Anyways,
I did think that obviously we've had Dr. Benedict Walters who doesn't really want to be doing this. I don't know
yeah.
why I called him Dr. Benedict Walters.
And then that's his full title. I appreciate it, and so will he.
you show respect, Bex, and that's what matters.
And then we've got Dr. McNulty, who's just panic. I mean, it is his first birth, but he did just panic. And I was just like, at the end of this episode, they should have both dropped out of the profession.
Throw all your training, all your years of hard work and devotion into the gutter.
You've been rubbish at one birth.
Go work in the
Off you
bike
pop.
shop, Dr. McNulty. Get out of here.
Get back.
You're no good.
Get back to where you belong.
You're only good for fixing bikes, you idiot.
Oh,
It's so hard. Think about Sister Frances when she was so new and she didn't know, and she like had to assist so many times before they let her do her own one by herself. Oh.
I still don't really agree with Nurse Crane over that. I think she was too harsh.
yeah, she was very harsh.
Well, yeah.
As harsh as you there, Bex.
She should have been softer. Now,
They should have been killed.
go to one of a firing squad. But yeah, she was too hard on Sister Frances. Oh,
Sorry.
God, that's good. Oh, that's good.
So anyway, the baby's okay in the end after it doesn't breathe for a bit, and then it screams, whatever. And they're like, "Oh God!" And then Leslie's all crying and all like happy about the baby, but then she's like to Harry, like, "Stop it!" Like,
Yeah, I want it to be different now. I want to be like, respectable or whatever.
yeah, the
But
first
then-
baby didn't do it for you, but the second one should.
But we don't really see anything. I mean, talk about like George like leaving and going into like we don't see anything with Leslie. Like they don't have any, or at least my episode, I don't remember any scene where like after the birth he, gets rid of all the toasters and goes and does something reputable or whatever. Like he's just like, well, we'll see or whatever, we'll talk about it. And then they're kind of gone and that's it. Like that was where
That's what I think that's why this episode it wasn't disjointed, but I just feel like there was just so much emphasis on them bloody birds. That like
And this would have
just
been, when we want to see snippets of storylines crossing over, this would be a good episode. So, like, for example, when you've got, Sergeant Wolf has gone to Kent, but whoever the new police officer is who replaces him, you could have a scene where they're in the police station and then Harry Pike is like carted in.
Yeah. And his wife's there crying, "Please spare him, I've just had my second baby."
They're like, we don't care. He's selling toasters. Oh, wait, girls. Oh, wait, do we have anything else to say about the episode? Or are we kind of, what else are we going to talk about? Because I have something funny actually. So you know how like Bex has made comments about, oh, the thing, and then you're like, get me the photos or whatever.
Oh, still not done.
Yeah, those photos, she's still not done yet.
Yeah, so wait, so where is, oh God, albums. Okay. So when I first watched this episode, I saw Violet Buckles' hat. You remember this hat?
Yes, I remember.
Okay, and
Jen's going to send a screen grab to the group, and I'm going to put it online for when this comes out.
Absolutely. And I took the screen grab because I was like, I want to be ready. Well, then immediately it made me think of
What is amazing.
Do you guys remember those? They're like
it's like you put ice in it.
Yeah, it's like
when you have toothache and stuff.
Yeah, when you have a headache, it's like an ice pack, but it's like really old-fashioned one where it's like it's all pleated and then it's like got the little thing at the top.
Right, you need to send that through.
And I was like, oh my God, that is not Val. That is Violet's hat right there. It's literally a floral ice pack bag.
It genuinely is.
Yeah, with ribbons coming down. And I was like, oh my God, this is so
It's probably
perfect.
dual purpose for when she gets hot sweats and menopause.
Honestly, yeah, so she can have an ice pack on her head and feel more comfy.
Yeah.
But
To
I
be
was
honest,
just like,
that's
this
actually
is
not a bad shout, guys.
But
Make them fashionable.
I just thought it was so funny, and I was just like, this is hilarious because
Oh,
like
look how she's put it through into the group already, Bex.
I did my
She's
homework.
yeah, better than me.
Well, I just knew if I talked about it, you would say like do that. So then I was like, all right, I'm just gonna do it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The viewers are still asking, the listeners are still asking for the other ones, Bex.
Are they?
No, no one's asked, but I have, and it will mean a lot to them. Now I've said it, they're going to ask in their droves.
Absolutely.
Also, I'll tell you what else they've all been asking today, which I realise is not right because this is weeks ahead, but they keep asking if I've had my surgery. And as it stands, it is the first day of September. I have still not had my surgery, but I have had my pre-op. So fingers crossed if it won't be long.
Okay. And
We'll be recording
we're
this from my recovery bed next, probably.
yeah, but we're also trying to bank some episodes so that we can get a little ahead so that if we need to take breaks because of any things that may be coming up or that have already come up that we can,
Yeah,
not have any
annoyingly, that one
interruptions.
break last week could not be had. I just couldn't even open my eyes or anything.
Yeah. Well, listen, I mean, life happens. You have to take care of your health first.
Yeah, I'm really. Oh, I just
I
hope.
mean, it still sucked that you went through it. Nobody wanted you to have to do that, but
Well, I really hope that it won't take me out of like recall the midwife duties. I'm hoping it'll be quite a good distraction. Do you know what I mean? I can still watch episodes and still
yeah.
record them, hopefully, and edit them. So,
Or you can have some lovely downtime. Don't work from home. Take sick leave.
Yeah,
no,
really take
I'm
time
gonna do
off.
both. If it gets to like 3 weeks, so when I went to my pre-op, they thought I wasn't going to take as much time as I needed because I was like, oh, 2 weeks, and they were like, nah, you need more than that. So.
Yeah. Well, are you gonna also have to get like physical therapy right away, like pretty much right after
Not
the
straight
surgery?
away because I can't put weight on it at first.
Yeah.
But yeah, the
How
same one who
long?
I broke up with or broke up with me. I'm gonna have the same physio. You know, the one who was like 12, and I was
Oh.
like, and he was like, you don't need anyone. And I was like, are you breaking up with me? And he looked at me like I was terrifying. Fun fact, he's just broken up with my dad.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What how long before you can stand on it?
I'm not sure actually. I think it's like 2 weeks or something like that.
So you're gonna do like recovery for 2 weeks and then you'll start with the physio.
Yeah, well, I'll start with the physio as soon as they tell me to.
Oh
So,
yeah.
Because
yeah.
when people have hip replacements, they're literally up and on them in 2 days.
Yeah, but that's different, I think, to the. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's not, but I'll have to
Well, I
have a
will
look
say they might. Like, look, we've already said so many times
because it's
stuff
not
we're not
load bearing
doctors,
at
but like,
first.
but I wonder if they're gonna give you like a walker or something so that you can not put weight on it, but that you can be like up and about.
Crutches, and do you know what, guys? I'm absolutely crap on crutches. Terrible, the world's worst. I've got no
Yeah.
upper body strength. I'm like a T-Rex.
I wonder if a walker would be better for you.
Yeah.
You
Well, we've
know?
got one because of my dad. We've got them. My parents. So I'm going to go and stay at my parents' house for like 2 weeks, I think, because they've got another bedroom and different double bed. We haven't got as many rooms or whatever.
Yeah.
And
Well, and you have to go up and down the stairs to get to your room, right?
exactly. So if I stay at theirs, it's just loads easier. And my dad's got like, because he's obviously just had all this stuff and he's getting loads better now and stuff, but they've got
Yeah.
like the toilet converter and things like that to make it higher. And like they've got stuff in the shower so they can hold on. And it's just they've got already
Mm.
got it for like disabled people. So it's just so much easier
Mm-hmm.
just to go and live there for like
Yeah.
a week or two.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
So, and they
Oh,
take Bobs to home from school on like 2 or 3 nights a week anyway. So it's
yeah.
not, so it's good. I'd be able to see her. And not that I wouldn't be able to see her, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It just already is like in the schedule.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, digress. Shall we do heroes and zeros?
Yes.
sure.
Who wants to go first? No one.
Bex,
None of us really
you
liked this episode, did we? And I don't think
well,
it's
it
because of
was
the
kind
break. I think it was
of
just a bit boring.
yeah, it just didn't have the razzle dazzle. It wasn't a bad episode, but it just was kind of like when I
Sick of
started
hearing about them
thinking
bloody birds.
well, when and for me, it was just like I just started thinking about it, and I was like even I wrote the synopsis. I'm like, did anything really happen? It just felt very. It felt like
Yeah.
an episode that just needed to happen to like get you to the next thing. It was like that's what it felt like to me.
Yeah.
It was like we have to do all of this to get to the stuff later that we want to do, and that's what I kind of felt like myself. But
I'll tell you what I did like
My
actually. There was one scene, sorry, really quick. There was one scene where the doctors were like, does he ever stop about Dr. Turner? And I thought,
Yeah,
Are you joking me? Compared to the flaming midwives, yeah, he does.
Oh
yeah.
my God. Yeah, I know. I know. Well, and that was again like a real like I was gonna say like horny for Dr. Turner, but that's not what I mean. Like I just mean like it was like, oh, he's so esteemed, he's so impressive, he's so like he's doing it all, he's doing everything. And I was just like literally almost every woman around him is doing as much or more than him. Like, oh,
Yeah,
whatever.
and riding around on bicycles while we're doing it in the middle of the night.
Yeah,
Kept yourself
absolutely.
on. Anyway, sorry, carry on, Bex.
Well, I was going to say my zero is going to be George Benson
Yeah.
Oh,
because
okay.
of how easily he gave up the birds.
Hmm.
He was like, yes, my health is more important than my life passion.
Yeah, but only after Miss Dr. Turner's. But what would the birds want you to do? He's impassioned. Do you think that's what the birds would want?
I'm sorry. If there was an animal in my life that was like literally causing me to have a terminal illness and the way to get rid of that was to let the animal go, I would let the animal go. I mean, I mean, it feels cruel, but it's like I'm gonna die because if I have a pet? Come
Yeah, but
on.
also, they're not even pets, they're wild animals.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can't domesticate a pigeon. Like,
Well,
I
apparently you
don't
can.
know. I was like, come on. I think he made the right choice, but yeah.
And then my hero is going to be Val
Oh, nice.
Oh, good one.
because she took Dr. McNulty under her wing. She gave up her bed for Phyllis.
Mm.
She's got a lot going on with her gran being in prison.
Oh my God, I forgot all about the grand. I'm like, who?
Val, I mean, really, yeah, I didn't like this episode.
Mm.
So I'm not really invested in my hero and zero.
Yeah.
Who's going
My
next? Me or
zero
you?
is the episode.
Who's going next? You or maybe Jen?
I guess I'll just think
Ben?
of them. Okay, so my zero will be I don't like really feel that strongly about this, but I'll guess my zero will be Harry like for being like such a grifter and like stealing all the toasters and everything.
Being an entrepreneur.
Especially since his wife was so adamant that he quit that business. I mean, just yeah, like try to find a legitimate business, sir. And then my hero will be you know what? I'll actually give it to all the ladies of Nonnatus, but especially Trixie and Val for really trying to bring up those young doctors and like teach them how to do the work correctly by respecting the patients, especially the patients are women, by having them like, there's a lot of like soft skills in there. And I feel like that's not something that we've seen male doctors on this series know how to do or care about. And the women make it a point that it's not just about the technical skill, but it's about the personal care and the bedside manner. And so I want to give them a little hats off because I do think those men were all better when they left than when they came.
Oh,
So
100%.
yeah, so
100%.
I'll do that as my hero. Yeah.
My zero is the toff Benedict always was going to be. He
Yeah.
did redeem himself a bit, but what a bell. Don't like him. He was just horrible and full of himself and privileged and nasty, and I didn't like him. And he thought he was better than
Hmm.
everyone. And then he left there knowing he's not better than everyone, but probably shake his head, have a bit of a kip, and then think he's above everyone again because that's the life he's led and will continue to lead. So then my zero, no, he was my zero. My hero is going to be Sister Julienne, working so
Oh.
tirelessly to try and save Nonnatus. Now, yes, it brought in an annoying amount of horrible boy doctors into the bathroom and everything for the girls. But at the same time, they don't realise what risk Nonnatus House is under. So she's
Yeah.
doing her
Mm.
darndest to try and save it, and I think that's very admirable. And I also
Hmm.
want to do another hero of like just a special mention to Reggie, who was very lovely with the pigeons.
Oh, I
Yeah.
know.
I would have accidentally ripped a wing off or something.
With teeth.
Like Ozzy Osbourne style, just like bit the bird's head off.
Well,
That's a
well,
bat.
no,
Yeah.
I would have just mishandled it.
Like Lenny of Mice and Men with the puppy.
Just squeeze it too tight, then it's bug out and it's gone. Oh, goodness gracious.
I don't think you would have, Bex. I think you would have been fine. I'm not gonna lie.
I wouldn't have been good because I just wouldn't have been willing to like deal with those birds. I just would have been like, I'm not touching a bird. I'm not doing that. I'm not cleaning up bird poop. I'm not doing that.
My
I'm not
friend at
doing that.
work, his dad's like a serial hobbyist, and he's got like an attic that's just like full of a trade and stuff. But now he's got like, since he's retired, he's got like something ridiculous, like 60 budgies in his garden in like this massive aviary. And he just keeps buying more budgies, and his mum's like, no, that's not what like just keeps having. And then people are like, oh yeah, we've got this budgie, my nan's died or whatever, and we've got nowhere to rehome it. So he's just basically become like the budgie man around the site. Basically, George Benson.
Oh my gosh. Fun fact that made me think of it when you said that. So when I was little, well, before I was born, my parents moved to the Middle East for my dad's job, and we lived there all the way through when I was about 4 years old. And when I was a baby, we were living there, and there was a lot of English and European influence in that area at that time, and so there was some vernacular that had gotten adopted, as well. And budgie was one of the names that my parents heard, specifically my mom heard, because like certain shopkeepers would call me budgie as like a affectionate, like instead of saying like sweetie or chick or something like that. And so my mom called me budgie as a little kid for a long time. She was like, my budgie, my sweetie, my budgie.
How do
And
you
I
say
never
it
really,
because I say budgie, very, very northern, budgie.
Budgie, a budgie.
Budgie, yeah.
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 And then it was way, way later that I learned it was an actual thing and not just some kind of funny nonsense word my mom came up with.
My grandma's nickname for me as a child was Birdie.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Girls, we actually have kind of a more shorter, streamlined episode this week.
Because we didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. There just wasn't as much to I mean, we didn't go on any crazy tangents, which we usually
we did.
do.
We did a few, but also I just feel like we didn't remember as much because we literally rewatched it and I didn't want to rewatch.
I mean, I watched it this morning again, and I just the second time I was like, there's even less here somehow than the first. I don't know.
Well, while we're on it, let's talk about the fact that this is our 97th episode.
Oh,
so
yes.
There's a 98th episode, then 99th, but we're going to actually rudely interrupt.
I know how that works.
Yeah, that's true. But we're going to rudely interrupt series 9 after episode 6 because we're going to do our 100th episode.
Yes.
So we've got a concept that we've come up with.
Yes.
So we'll tell you about that nearer the time. We'll make it a surprise, eh?
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be a surprise because we've come up with a concept, changed our mind, and come up with a new concept.
Yeah, but I think the new concept is better.
Oh yeah, it's going to be prize winning.
Yeah. I don't think it will. I don't think we're going to win.
I'm like, what prize?
There is such thing as podcast awards that we'll
nominate ourselves. We'll win our own prize.
We can have a table at the event.
That's going to happen, guys.
Well, I have to say, are we gonna? I don't know if we have an official date as to like when we're gonna go back to posting episodes, but
we've already done it. September the
next week.
Oh, next week.
Have you not been on our social media? I've done a big thing, being like, this time next week we're back.
Oh, that's what I thought, but I haven't been on social media in a minute.
When we're discussing this though, guys, this is going to be meaningless because we'll have been back 4 weeks.
I know. I should have said it week 1, but
scenes, Bex. This is where the magic happens. Do you know
what I mean? Just to say, like, I record the podcast, but I really enjoy listening to the podcast too, and so I've kind of missed it like the past few weeks. Like, I'm ready for it to come back.
Same. Well, I have been listening to it because I've been editing them, but I also listen to them when they go live because I want to make sure I've not like left anything in the edit that I shouldn't have. Take that out.
Apparently I swore last week, so apologies, listeners.
Oh, well, listeners won't even know because you're going to edit it out, right?
Well,
are you going to put a beep or?
No, well, I was going to, and then I forgot, and then I've just realised I put it in, so it's going to stay up. But I have to sign a thing being like, no swearing in these podcasts, and I lied.
Oh, is it a bad swear word, or is it like?
No, it's one of the milder ones.
It's one that Jenny said in the show.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
I do remember that.
Do you not remember? She was talking about pigs. She said, "Can I have some of your lovely pig?"
Oh,
yeah.
Yep. Well, we're not gonna make it an explicit episode this time by repeating her language, but yeah.
Well, I thought it was okay because they did it in the show, so. Yeah, accepted.
I mean, that's how I feel about this episode.
Yeah.
I just feel like it was kind of like usually the thing is how many weeks have we come on here and been like, so much happened, like it was so wild, like they did this and they did this, and I was crying, then I was laughing.
Yeah, we normally struggle to fit it in, and now
I didn't even get like lightly emotional during this. Is probably one of the few times I've like not even ever I didn't even think about crying, which like
we're just going to get loads of bird fans being like, how very dare you, that was the most emotional episode I've seen, a relationship between a bird and its keeper, I don't know what they're called, is the handler, is the world's most precious thing, and you're just
honestly I would love bird advocates to come out and be like, you guys missed a trick, like here's why birds are so cool. Now listen, I do think birds in general are cool. I just am not like a pigeon person.
There are some homing pigeons somewhere near me because when I go out on a dog walk, you see a little flock of them down by the lake. And they are pretty pigeons, I'll give them that.
Yeah. I mean, we love birds. Like I know I've talked on here before about like we have like a couple bird feeders around our yard. We've got this amazing bird food, not bird food. Well, we do have amazing bird food, but we've got this amazing bird store near where we live where they sell like everything for like birds and like, all that kind of stuff, like wildlife. And so we've become like quite like I would say we're on the bird watching, like light bird watching end because when the birds are all coming around to eat the bird food, we're like, oh, there's a blah and there's a blah. And then we try to figure out which birds are which. And like, so yeah, love birds. I just was like,
My
I just
husband's a
don't want
toucher. He's well into birds. Did I ever tell you about the time that that's actually true? I'm not doing a weird euphemism for women. I mean, he genuinely loves looking at birds and watching
He
them.
loves birds.
Yeah, no, we have loads of stuff in our garden. We get loads of wildlife and birds in our garden. Did you ever tell you about the time when we had an eagle, like an American bald eagle, in our garden?
Oh, wait a minute.
Zoo.
Yeah, it didn't escape from the zoo. It escaped from somewhere near us that does like falconry and stuff. But basically, there was literally a massive, massive eagle, and it was like circling our house and the next door neighbour's house. And this is when I lived with my parents years ago. And we rang next door because their grandkids and stuff were playing in the back garden, but so was their little dog. And he just kept circling. And we were like, right, get in the house, everyone. Like the 2-year-old and the dog. Like, I don't think they'd be able to pick a 2-year-old, but it was so much bigger in real life than I ever realised. It was just on our drive. So I rang the falconry centre and they were like, oh no, nothing's gone missing. Oh, hang on. Yeah, we are actually. I'm just like, well done, guys. And they were literally came and just were throwing like massive mice at it to get it to go with them.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I will say, I mean, obviously, so it was a bald eagle, right? Like like the one that we have ours.
Huge.
Yeah, they're massive. So on the piggyback of that, so now so long ago, and you talked about going to an event as a senior citizen for like all these different things. So I was working in the Berkshires in Massachusetts many years ago. And it was over a summer, and they had a little library that was like so cute there. And one day I went to the library, just happened to go because I wanted to check out a book. And there was a event starting in a few minutes, and it was all about like various different like birds and hawks and owls and da 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 da. And I like a falconry thing. And I was like, okay, this is really cool. And so the guy had all these really amazing birds. He had like 3 different kind of owls. He had like a falcon. He had a hawk. He had a what's that one? A vulture. And he had a bald eagle, which was amazing to see. And it is truly, I'm just making your point again, Al, but like it is an incredibly large bird, very powerful. And I mean, honestly, when I watched it, I was like, I could see why we picked this as our national bird like symbol or whatever, because
I don't think he did pick it. I think it picked itself because no one else was going to be. Everyone was so intimidated by it, they couldn't help but be picked by it. Like,
it's a powerful animal. I mean, that is an animal that projects strength. I was like, this is a bird that is getting stuff done. Like, so yeah, I was like, hot dang, this bird knows what's what. So
I'd vote for that over Trump.
Oh my God. Yes, absolutely. I'd put a bald eagle in the White House before I'd put that man. Even if he just pecked out his orders, I would be like, yes.
We might have lost some Trump supporters there.
Well, I'm sorry that you feel that way. Not you. I'm sorry to our listeners if we've offended you, but anyways, yeah, that's how it is.
I think we're going to have offended some bird lovers, maybe. Anyway, next week we are doing Series 9, Episode 5, and it's going to be well better than this one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So thank you so much for listening. Follow us on Twitter, X, Instagram. What else are we on, guys? Facebook. We're in loads of Facebook groups. Please come join us. Send us your questions. Yeah, YouTube. Subscribe to that. You can't see our faces yet.
Like and subscribe on all the different... No, you don't need to see what we look like. Like and subscribe on all the podcast platforms.
Yeah, leave us some good reviews. And yeah, any questions you've got, send them through, guys. We'd love to hear from you.
We've
got some lovely messages. So I've got some messages, and I should have totally done it today when we had loads of chance, but that's how thick I am, guys. But we will do it. We'll do it soon. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.